So it has been a real life prison break going on in the streets of New Orleans over the last few months. Okay, it's been absolutely crazy, and the news has just broken that the final man, Derek Groves, has been captured, and they have gotten all 10 of these escaped inmates back off the streets. Okay, and essentially, people have been wondering, how did this escape go down? What was going on? This mass jailbreak, 10 guys, and this guy, Derek Groves, is the last person. He managed to evade the police for 5 months. So today, I'm going to break down the whole story from the start, how these guys got out of jail, what went down, and how the cops rounded up all of their asses and sent them straight back to the penitentiary. Okay, so look, let's just cast our minds all the way back to May 2025. So these guys ain't even really get on the run for that long, okay? But May 2025, that's when this broke down just after midnight. 10 inmates escaped from the New Orleans Parish Prison and caused absolute chaos.
So let's dig a little bit deeper here into the timeline and what happened with this brand new surveillance video. 12:23 a.m. You can see them right there yanking on these doors, pulling them off the tracks, says the sheriff. Then at 1 a.m., it is at this moment that a corrections monitoring technician stepped away from their position where they would be visually watching this pod to go grab some food. And that is the moment the sheriff tells us that the inmates exited through a hole in the wall behind the toilet, got into the loading dock, and you can see them right here. This is after they scaled the wall, going past the barbed wire, and then going through this interstate. Now, the Orleans Parish Sheriff, Susan Hudson, says that the cells had defective locks, but they also had evidence of this being an inside job. The plumbing and the rebar that you can see right here had been clean cut with those big bolts removed that could only have happened with outside help, they said. Now, officials discovered that they were missing at least 7 hours later since their escape. Since this has happened, they have suspended 3 of the employees there pending the outcome of this internal investigation. And the sheriff insisted that the moment they found out, they immediately started calling victims and started calling survivors to warn them of what had happened.
How did no one see a massive jailbreak?
We are underfunded, understaffed, underpaid. So we do our best to hire staff and retain them, but like everyone else, we're short.
So this was a crazy prison break, but it wasn't just breaking through the wall. That wasn't enough for these guys, man. They apparently took the time on the way out to actually leave messages behind. Okay, look at this. This is the hole through which 10 prisoners escaped from the New Orleans jail, and they drew this little face. It says most hated, 9. I don't know if these are gang affiliations. This says 050, innocent, we innocent, I'm innocent, we innocent. OJC. Some of this is blurred out. I guess this is probably some maybe offensive language. And they pointed an arrow to where they broke out, and they put too easy, lol. All right. How insane is that? They're saying one of these dudes is actually innocent, and the others were like, I'm innocent. Now we innocent too. All right. Okay. Apparently most people in jail think they're innocent. They're saying now we know why Fat Tony didn't make it. They don't call him Springfield Fats because he's grossly obese. All right. They're saying this really is the real life prison break. Okay, this is the real life prison break with what was his name? What was his name? Schofield or something? I used to watch Prison Break back in the day. This guy was getting busy. If you know about this guy with the pockets unfolded, that show was absolutely crazy. But anyway, we would later find out that the whole jailbreak was apparently enabled by a jail maintenance worker who he himself was later arrested. Okay, apparently it was a jail employee who was apparently threatened, and he ended up getting arrested too. So check this out.
Tell us that an Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office maintenance worker, 33-year-old Sterling Williams, has been booked on 10 charges of principal to escape or helping inmates escape and 1 count of malfeasance in office. Here's a photo we actually just got into the newsroom from the Attorney General's office of 33-year-old Sterling Williams. Here it is here. Again, you can see his charges there. Court documents from sources say Williams told investigators that Antoine Massey, one of the inmates involved in this escape, according to investigators, he apparently told investigators that Massey threatened to shank him if he did not turn off water to the cell through which these 10 inmates escaped. Those documents also say Williams is seen on surveillance footage in one of the jail pods talking to Derek Groves, Massey, and another inmate. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill released a statement about this upgrade of this, I should say this arrest, this update. that says, quote, "This is a continuing investigation and we will provide updates as often as possible. We will uncover all of the facts eventually, and anyone who aided and abetted will be prosecuted to the full extent the law allows. I encourage anyone who knows anything, and even those who may have provided assistance, to come forward now to obtain the best possible outcome in their particular case," end quote. The AG's office says Williams was arrested and booked without incident into the Orleans Parish Jail and then relocated to a different facility. As for those escaped inmates, only 4 of the 10 are back behind bars. Law enforcement from across the state and region continues searching for the remaining 6 on the run.
So this fool messed around, all right, ended up getting locked up at the very jail that he helped 10 fools escape from. And they moved him to a different jail because no doubt he probably got history in that jail. They were threatening to shank him. I wouldn't, bruh, if you were a prison officer and you end up at the jail that you was working in, that's a long day for you, okay? But basically, 3 of the escaped inmates were actually caught on the very first day, okay? They were actually caught same day. They didn't get too far. As Lil Jeff said, they didn't make it far. Okay, 3 inmates were recaptured. 7 still remained after the jailbreak. And this basically said the 3rd inmate who escaped was taken back into custody on the 16th of May, 2025. DeKeenan Dennis was taken back into custody Friday evening. He was located on Dale Street. He was facing charges of armed robbery and illegal possession of weapons at the time of the escape. Robert Moody, who was initially booked on obstruction of justice charges, drug dealing and battery, was the 2nd inmate recaptured. And Kendall Miles was the first escapee caught. He was found earlier in the day hiding under a car at the Hotel Monteleone in the French Quarter. Miles had previously escaped from the Bridge City Youth Center and was on custody of weapons charges. That's Robert Moody there in cuffs, locked. You know what I'm saying? Man. I would say free the guys, but you guys kind of flopped on this one. I'm not going to lie.
Bring Orleans jail escapee and convicted killer Derek Groves back to Louisiana.
Chris Well.
Okay, that's new news. We're going to get to that at the end, basically. But yeah, they caught these first 3 guys. They didn't make it far. And then they kept on hunting.
Hunt is on right now for the 7 inmates at large. Maddie Kurth is live outside of Orleans Parish Jail, where it all began. Hey, Maddie, any updates from the scene?
Hey, Rob, good morning. Live here outside of the jail. We do have a couple of transport buses here that say Louisiana State Penitentiary heading out of the jail complex. It's hard to tell if that's related to this case or not of these escaped inmates, but that's the latest activity here at the jail. But on top of searching the city and beyond today for those remaining escapees, the Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson is also looking inward. She launched an investigation into her own employees, so far suspending 3 deputies. Now, Hudson says the jail is only at 60% staffing right now. She and her top officials all saying there are indications that this could have been an inside job. So how do 10 people escape from the Orleans Parish Jail? Well, these photos are from inside the first floor of the jail. They show one way these inmates apparently defeated the system. The sheriff's office says the inmates broke through a wall behind a toilet that was out of view from deputies. They apparently did this after breaking a lock and forcing a sliding door to their cell off of its track. Now, while the jail is reportedly understaffed, one former New Orleans police second in command believes that if there were pressing security concerns, Hudson should have requested outside help before something like this.
It's all well and good to say you should have requested help, but realistically, if they're saying this happened because they were understaffed, I don't know how much staff would have got you around this, but these guys were clearly pretty ingenious, right? Now, the police really weren't playing. Okay, the police really weren't playing because once they started capturing people, okay, they would actually send some of these guys to Angola, an infamous and very dangerous maximum security prison that some people have said is actually ran like a plantation. So look at this. This is where some of these guys are.
The Louisiana State Penitentiary at Angola is one of America's most unusual prisons because it is in some ways a plantation. Once you pass through Angola's front gate, you can't help but feel that you've gone back in time to another South.
It's the largest maximum security prison in the country. Right now, there are 6,300 prisoners. The majority are murderers. You have rapists. You have people who committed assault, drug felonies.
How long are you here for? Next 40 years? What was the charge? 4 counts?
Roughly 75.
So the real demons here. So these guys are getting caught and they're getting sent up the road to one of the most notorious and dangerous jails that America has to offer. And really, look, I'm not trying to make light of it, but this really does look like a plantation. They're sending these guys, they're sending these guys 200 years back into the past at this jail. This is actually crazy, okay? So after this, just 4 days after the escape, police would end up actually catching the 5th inmate. Police would end up catching the 5th inmate. Hang on a second. My bad. So 3 days after the escape, it was an army of police that would end up catching the fourth inmate, Gary Price. He was in jail for an attempted first-degree murder and domestic abuse. They would end up catching him, and the video of the capture would be broadcast on the news.
Pay close attention to the number of law enforcement officers surrounding this corner lot. The video zooms in. You see one person not in uniform. Here's the key moment. Louisiana State Police detectives, with support from LSP SWAT, turn around, revealing Gary Price, hands behind his back and back in custody. In the video, you see a SWAT truck parked on the front lawn of this house on Good Drive in New Orleans East. All of the state police members have their weapons drawn. You can even see an officer at the top of the SWAT truck ready. You can see the fresh tyre marks in the grass here. Neighbours tell us that law enforcement rammed this fence to gain access to the property. Property residents tell us is currently empty. Louisiana State Police posted pictures Monday night of 21-year-old Gary Price back in custody. After his arrest, LSP say they flew him to a secure correctional facility. According to the Department of Corrections, Price is in Angola. State Police say he'll be booked for simple escape and possession of Schedule 2. Price is in the Orleans Parish Jail for attempted first-degree murder, domestic abuse, and aggravated assault.
So they sent him up to Angola. Okay, they sent him to the plantation prison. That was going to be a rough day for Gary Price, man. And then 4 days after the escape, that's when the fifth inmate, Corey Boyd, would end up getting caught as well. Now, his story is crazy. He was accused of actually murdering a witness whilst breaking into a car, but they caught his ass and shipped him straight on back. It was crazy.
This exclusive video obtained by WDSU shows Corey Boyd being arrested inside the Bienville Basin Apartments Tuesday night.
The idea that they are bringing this hell, this fresh hell to your home, to your doorstep, means that they don't care.
Dogs are seen snapping at the 19-year-old escaped inmate as deputies command him to get on the ground.
Someone had to provide that access, and that help, just that bit of assistance alone, is a crime.
This video was obtained just hours before 32-year-old Courtney Harris and 38-year-old Corvante Baptiste were arrested on felony accessory charges. State police saying Harris contacted two of the escapees by phone and took them to multiple locations across New Orleans. Baptiste is accused of using a phone and social media to help Corey Boyd get food.
All they're doing is putting you in the line of sight of law enforcement.
So, look, these guys all broke out. They was on the run, okay? And there's a map here that I'll show you. All of them, initially, these first guys were found in different parts of New Orleans, okay? So they didn't really make it too far from the jail. Realistically, you know, Corey Boyd didn't get too far. Gary C. Price was one of the furthest away, but he's still in the New Orleans East area. Now, after this, okay, the search expanded, okay? They're start looking at other cities in Louisiana, and that's when they end up finding the next person. Okay, they find the next person in Young Boy's hood, all right? They end up finding Lenton Van Buren, who was charged with second-degree murder for a fatal 2021 shooting about an hour's drive away in Baton Rouge in that wreck.
Baton Rouge police initially captured Buren, the sixth inmate escapee, to be brought back into custody this evening on a bench at a shopping center parking lot where he sat in front of a sneaker store. Now, police tell us Van Buren was in that shopping center off of Airline Highway near Interstate 12 in Baton Rouge. He was previously tracked to addresses in both Mississippi and in New Orleans East. And court records detailed that at least 6 alleged accomplices who helped him are now in custody. James Randolph is the latest. And state police just announced the latest arrest before James Randolph in connection with Van Buren. That's his sister, 28-year-old Lanika Van Buren, who is booked for being an accessory after the fact. 18-year-old Patricia Van Buren and 27-year-old Tyshania Randolph are also accused of helping Van Buren evade law enforcement by bringing him to a home in Mississippi. 2 others, Lenton Van Buren Sr. and Angel McKee, were also arrested in connection with aiding and abetting Van Buren. Now, police say they housed him in the aftermath before he traveled to Mississippi. State police investigators began to track the alleged accomplices from phone calls that Van Buren made to one of his sisters from a jailhouse phone. He told her to be outside of the facility by 11:30 p.m. the night before the escape. Police say that one of Van Buren's sisters also told them she saw her brother via video call inside of the vehicle of one of Derek Grove's associates. Police say that that woman, who has not yet been placed under arrest as far as we know, allegedly dropped Van Buren off at McKee's house in New Orleans East.
So people are getting charged with being accessories at this point, for even making phone calls to these guys, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Now, it didn't take too long after this incident. Basically, the same day, they would find 2 more escapees. They would find Jermaine Donald and Leo Tate arrested together all the way over in Texas this time, about 70 miles north of Houston, and they had gotten into a high-speed chase and eventually ended up getting caught, okay?
Hey, everybody move to the right side of the car. Open the door, dude. I'm not opening, you kidding? Get out. Go with them. Got hands if everybody can hold it. Jumbo, good hands? Shut up. Unlock the door with your right hand. Crawl to, no, Jumbo, back up. Crawl to him. All the way out. Crawl! Back to the clear.
So 2 more, another 2 bite the dust, okay? And at this point, we're getting to where we've been about 2 weeks on from the escape, okay? So within just 2 weeks of this escape, 8 of the 10 inmates were back in custody and just 2 more members were on the run. Derek Groves and Anton Massey were the last 2 that were still at large. They caught 8 of these fools at this point, but the search would continue, okay? Now, interestingly, on June the 3rd, 2025, one of the remaining escapees, Anton Massey, he took to Instagram to plead his case, and he would even ask for help from celebrities and the president. Check this out, all right?
My name is Antoine Massey. I'm one of the ones that was let out of Orleans Parish Jail where they said I escaped, right? All right, what I want to talk about today is that I learned that they locked a woman up for saying that she was supposed to be helping me in any nature. Her name is Diamond White, right? Now, Diamond White is the victim to my case in St. Tammany. What they say, the kidnapping, the second-degree rape, the second-degree kidnapping, the domestic abuse battery, right? Now, this woman, this is a grown woman, not a child. This woman I was dating, right? Now, on the news right now, they saying that they locked this woman up for trying to help me, right? Or whatever nature they locked her up for. So, what I want to show you and show you how corrupted the state of Louisiana is, that for the courts and the system, period, right? All right, right here I have legal drop phones for that supposed to be rape charge or whatever they said that I did to this woman, right? But
so look, this piece of scum, all right, he had an R charge and he's trying to say, oh, I got a legal document saying to drop the charge, okay? And then he's escaping jail. Nonsense, all right? But he literally asked for celebrities. He asked for the president to help him out, to try and help him. And I believe he ends up actually specifically asking if Lil Wayne can help him out since he escaped from Gnarly.
The person that I was once before is not who I am today. I am a father. You know what I'm saying? I have a mother. I have sisters that love me.
By the way, I just find it disgusting when these guys do this of just like, oh, the person that was, you know, caught the R charge, I got a child, I'm a father now, so like I can't really have done anything bad because I'm a father now. Like, bruh, shut the hell, get in the paddy wagon, man. Shut the hell up.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm asking for help, man. I'm asking for all these people, Lil Wayne, Kim Kardashian, Donald Trump. I'm asking for, please, bro, this my victim. He just locked up on the news, Diamond White, who they said that I'm supposed to have been raped. Went to the district attorney, to the courthouse, and said I did not do this. I have legalized affidavits, drop forms that I didn't do this. So why Mr. Massey was still in jail? Come on, man, help me, man, please.
Now, look, that's not how the justice system works, but you can tell this guy ain't the sharpest tool in the box by those abominable face tattoos that he's got. But apparently, he wasn't just asking Lil Wayne for help for no reason. The channel Rare Reports on YouTube would actually report that Antoine's late father had apparently been best friends with Lil Wayne's stepdad right before he was allegedly killed right in front of Antoine himself. So this is some interesting backstory as to the trauma this guy was going through, but nothing's going to undo that R charge, my man. But this is some interesting backstory about him and Wayne.
I'm sitting here, I'm looking at a picture of Lil Wayne's dad, stepdad, Rabbit, and a guy that looked just like Massey.
Yeah, that's Big Antoine, man.
Antoine.
Yeah, man. He ran in the clique with us with Rabbit, man.
That's Antoine Massey's dad.
Yeah.
Do you have memory of him as a youngster?
Yeah, I remember little Antoine when he was young, because I used to always be hang around his daddy. Shit, his daddy was executed when Twine was like 8 years old in front of Twine. Matter of fact, when they killed his daddy, they put a gun to his head when he was a baby, when he was a little boy. The whole family.
If you say they, who you did, somebody who was after his dad, the people who was after his dad did that?
Well, somebody had robbed his daddy and killed him in front of the family. Somebody that was, somebody that came up underneath him. And the craziest thing about that is, like, the day after the escape happened, the day before the escape happened, the dude that killed Lil Antoine daddy, the dude that killed Big Antoine, had just got killed the night before Lil Antoine escaped. That's some ironic stuff.
So look, we're seeing these clips, all right, of Antoine partying, he's jumping in the pool. All of that stuff was going around on the news. But, this guy's father was apparently killed right in front of him, and his father was, best friends with Lil Wayne's stepdad, Rabbit. So anyway, a few days go by, and Antoine decides to post a fit pic on Instagram whilst also proclaiming his innocence, okay? And this is still up. He said, "My name is Antoine Massey, and I'm innocent." He's showing off his fit. He outside, you know what I'm saying? He chilling. There's that Benz. People saying you might as well pull a TK and drop a single, man. They're going to write a movie about you guys. The best to ever do it. I don't know if this guy's the best to ever do it, given that he had an R charge. But anyway, this clown was finally caught about 6 weeks later after an anonymous tip gave him up. And you'll never guess where he was caught. He was caught in Lil Wayne's hood, Holly Grove, man. What the hell?
Y'all know more than me, honestly. All I know is they found him here.
Unmarked law enforcement vehicles filled a quiet Holly Grove neighborhood, closing in on Antoine Massey.
My friend called me, a friend of mine. I guess it's all over the news. I rushed here. I'm here and I don't even see cops.
The homeowner didn't want to be identified out of fear. She claims the property is often used for short-term rentals and says she doesn't know how Massey gained access.
Here with? I don't know anything, man. I really don't. I don't know anything.
Video obtained by WDSU shows the massive police presence with several law enforcement officers with their guns drawn.
I was just coming up. I didn't know what was going on.
Longtime Holly Grove resident William Hales says it's unsettling to know Massey was hiding out literally next door.
Well, yeah.
So he was hiding out in Holly Grove, man. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to tap in probably with Lil Wayne's people. But anyway, at this point, okay, there is one man. Derek Groves, the final escapee, and they're trying to hunt him down. And he would be on the run for months. And at some point, okay, this Kroger cashier would go viral for apparently looking like him. People saying Derek Groves thinks he's slick. Where's my reward? People saying this Kroger employee might have been him, man. That's some nasty work. The resemblance is crazy. But now, as of this month, October the 8th, 2025, nearly 5 months after the escape, the most final and perhaps the most dangerous inmate that escaped, Derek Groves, was apprehended all the way in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, he would eventually be found. He would be taken back into custody and locked back up like Akon and them, man.
Derek Groves is once again in custody. Police say he was taken into custody peacefully, but he left reporters on the scene with a kiss, then an unclear message, screaming something including, "They're taking me." He was found nearly 500 miles from where he first escaped back on May 16th. Officials say a tip led them to Honeysuckle Lane.
And this one obviously panned out.
Atlanta police.
So the tip panned out, man, and while it's been unconfirmed, there have been rumors that his own girlfriend might have actually dropped the low on him, okay? This was going around. Derek Groves was reportedly caught because of an argument he had with his alleged girlfriend the morning before the arrest. And this is somebody saying WSB just reported a neighbor said he was living there with his GF, and then the neighbor said they heard Derek and the girlfriend fighting early this morning. Then a few hours later, the SWAT team converged on the neighborhood and the house. But nobody called the New Orleans tip line at all. The girlfriend got mad and ratted him out. Now, okay, before you big up these guys and say how amazing, how incredible, how cool they are for escaping from prison, Derek Groves' background is pretty dark, okay, and it has a whole other complicated and grim chapter to this whole story, as people basically found out that his grandmother was Kim Groves, who was tragically murdered on the orders of a corrupt New Orleans police officer named Len Davis. So everybody's got crazy backstories.
My brother
knew her mother very well. I knew of her because we all grew up in the lower Ninth Ward.
Kim Groves shot and killed in front of her home in October of 1994.
It was a sad time for all of us who lived in that neighborhood because all she was trying to do was the right thing.
After police say she filed a brutality complaint against former NOPD officer Lynn Davis. 30 years later, in Davis, who ordered the hit, won't receive the death penalty anymore.
Were they consulted? You know, a lot of times victims' families will be consulted before a decision is made. I would hope that the president talked to them.
Davis will now be held for life without the possibility of parole.
So that was his grandmother that was allegedly murdered by a corrupt cop. And what's really crazy is that after this all went down and he was captured, people were actually posting on Reddit. They were saying, yo, Trap Law Ross, you need to do a Derek Groves documentary, man. He apparently avenged the death of his grandmother that had a hit on her for filing a police report on a dirty cop. I think it would be a good video for your channel. And he's the only inmate that escaped. Has still not been found, no trace. But he has been caught. All right, he has been caught. It's over with, okay? And this really isn't somebody that we should be looking up to, okay? Because it would turn out that his actual case that he had was all the way back from December the 9th, 2019. And he was connected to 4 murders in just 2 years in 2019 by the police, including a brutal Mardi Gras shooting that took 2 innocent lives, with them having absolutely nothing to do with the murder of his grandmother, okay? Convicted Mardi Gras killer Derek Woo Groves has been now connected to 4 homicides in just 2 years. Okay, it says at his trial for a quintuple shooting, oh great, his trial for a quintuple shooting that left 2 people dead on Fat Tuesday 2018, prosecutors portrayed Derek Woo Groves as a lower Ninth Ward drug dealer with a vicious history despite his relative youth. A judge gave Groves 2 life sentences for the Mardi Gras bloodshed, and he now faces more charges after an indictment was handed up last week for 2 earlier shootings. Groves and Alfred Mitchell, 62, were charged Thursday with second-degree murder for the killing of Woodrow Smith in the Desire area in 2017. Groves alone faces another first-degree murder charge for the slaying of Tyrone Francis in the lower Ninth Ward on January the 26th, 2019. All told, New Orleans parish prosecutors have connected Groves to 4 homicides in an 18-month span. Okay, so he was really out here murdering all types of people, and this is not somebody who we want to have on our streets. But not only that, not only was he killing people, but footage would later drop showing that Derek Groves actually might have been an
fuck how just me and my niggas putting dummies in y'all. I'ma keep it 1,000 full of killer in jail. For my Vicks that popped in, no deed off pills. Checking, I ain't stopping till I get to a mill. You shooters, they claim they shooters, they ain't getting no kills. Pack or young, and we like fuck how they feel. They wake up with beats, my shooters letting them know it's real. Watch how many people I kill. Moms is crying. Niggas really dying for real. Yeah, I woke up and smelled the coffee. Niggas in my hood really rhyme trying to off me.
So he was on tunes. He was rapping about how he killed people. We're going to have families crying. Get him off the streets, lock him up, right? Nothing cool about that. We do not glorify or glamorize that kind of behavior. Now, what's really interesting, though, is everybody's favorite YSL cooperator, Lil Woody, YSL Woody. He actually came out after this happened, and he claimed that he'd actually seen Derek Groves at the club before he was arrested. The day before he was arrested, he was popping bottles in the club. How crazy is this?
I just told them folks on TikTok. Me and my buddy was in the club with him. And y'all know I play too much. I was like, hey, they got that nigga escaped from New Orleans prison right there. That nigga holler like, nah, that ain't him. I'm like, bro, that is him. He like, that ain't him. Man, I be damn, we wake up the next day with him. Nigga. Didn't they have like a $50,000 reward out for this nigga? Man, I would have told him, hey, bro, look, I'm put $10,000 on your account, nigga. You need to go turn yourself in. Cause you just in the club, just chilling, nigga. You ain't got no mission. You ain't got no. That's how you know the nigga the CIA. That's how you know the nigga the CIA, y'all. Don't let these folks fool y'all.
He's saying he's CIA, man. He said, how's he in the club out here just partying with no mission? But when all the dust settled, man, okay, in total, 26 individuals ended up being charged in relation to the escape. In addition to the 10 inmates, 16 accessories were charged, so they ended up getting more than a 2-for-1. Look at all of these accessories that were charged in the case, okay? This person was assisting her boyfriend, Derek Groves, assisting his cousin, Lenton Van Buren, and acquiring a hotel room. This person got done for accused of paying for the Baton Rouge hotel room where Lenton Van Buren was arrested. The father of Lenton, another 2 relatives. Another person was charged with assisting. Another person charged with assisting. Someone was charged with principal to aggravated escape for the assistance of Antoine Massey. Someone was charged with 10 counts of simple escape. charged with assisting 2 escapees, admitted involvement to the arresting of officers, accused of being in phone contact with the escapees, driving 2 others around the city. Someone was charged with accessory after the fact, simple escape, charged with assisting their grandson, Jermaine Donald, and the jail plumber was charged with turning off the water to the cell toilet that was used by the 10 inmates to escape. Everyone was put back in cuffs. Everybody ended up getting their charges. They're going to have to face them charges. They're going to have to do their time, and it is a bad look. So let me know what you guys think down below, people. Do you feel like people should get a second chance? Because if you're smart enough to escape from jail, maybe you should get a second chance. Maybe we should just forget about all them charges. In my opinion, absolutely not. These are dangerous individuals. Ain't nothing cool about what they did. Ain't nothing cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The escape was kind of cool. But realistically, you guys all flopped. Nobody DB Coopered their way out of this. And you all are back in custody. So let me know what you guys think, man. If you want more breakdowns like this, let me know. I'll do more. Peace.